Good evening and a very warm welcome from Team Training and Education to all the participants. Today we are conducting our Gyan Ganga series 45th webinar. Today again we have our known panelists and faculty, Mr. KB Manchanda will be giving a session on Marine cum Erection Policy Part 1. A very warm welcome to all the participants and all the panelists. I request Mr. Manchanda to start today's session.
Thank you, Sachin ji. Today, in fact, I pay my obeisance to all of my teachers. And definitely today I'm fortunate enough that I'm delivering my webinar today on Teachers' Day. It is really very thing of very proud feeling kind of thing today I'm feeling. And today we are deliberating on marine cum erection policy. And since it is a very vast policy, and we will be discussing all the wordings and how the claims are processed one by one. And here I would like to introduce Mr. Sarabjit, who has helped me in taking good care of marine part in it, because he's a marine surveyor fellow member, and he belongs to Punjab, and he has got a good standing, and his words to become an authority kind of thing whenever he releases some complicated kind of thing. And in his consultation, even policy wordings are being serviced to the clients at Ludhiana and other things. So first of all, here, secondly, I have to thank ISLA for making this platform where we are trying to interact with each other and trying to exchange our whatever we have learned in all these long years. And though this was not a very small kind of thing, it has taken a considerable time, and we have learned a lot during all these things. And because you see, it was very disgusting whenever insurers or even IRDA, they used to have a very bad kind of projection of surveyors that they are this and they are that kind of thing, means they are not well versed with the policy conditions and all. And then we have come together under one umbrella of this our parent organization ISLA to impart education to all of our members, so that we may come forward and try to impart our learnings and all our interpretations of the policy and other day-to-day routine kind of things which are propping up in our working. So now I request Mr. Taneja ji to deliberate on the first section of the policy, that is marine. First of all, I would like to say the policy has following sections. That is, one is marine, another is erection all risk cover, then there are endorsements, there are add-on covers, there are extensions, and there are clauses and warranties. Then there are losses which are excluded from such sort of policy. So we will be discussing one by one, and now I request Mr. Sarabjit to take charge and deliberate on ICC clauses A, which is the main constituent of marine portion of this policy. Please, Mr. Sarabjit.
Welcome all participants. So we are moving towards marine cover. Marine cover is one of the cover in marine cum erection policy. Marine cum erection policy, you know, is a comprehensive cover. It comprises many covers, and the main constituent, marine cover. We are starting with it. We ensure against loss or damage, liability or expense as per ICCA, Institute War Clauses Cargo and Institute Strike Clauses Cargo. ICCA clause first. ICCA clause, it is unnamed peril clause. And other clauses ICC B or C are named peril clauses. Okay. And ICCA clause is a all risk cover. It consists all risks and other risks which are in conjunction with ICC C or B are also covered in this clause. For example, the risks covered which are fire, explosion risk, vessel craft stranding, sunken, capsizing, or collision of vessel with any external object, discharge at cargo, at port of distress, earthquake, lightning, jettison, washing overboard, general average, and all other risks, including, theft, pilferage, non-delivery, damage, breakage, leakage, heating, sweating, fresh water, rainwater damage, all are included in this all risk ICCA clause. Further, ICCA clause is having some general exclusions, which are also in other clauses. General exclusions are willful misconduct of assured. When there is loss or damage caused due to willful misconduct of insured, it is excluded. Ordinary leakage of volume, in particularly in liquid content, evaporation losses, weight of volume is decreased. These are called ordinary leakages. These are also excluded. Ordinary wear and tear losses excluded because you can take it in machinery part, second-hand goods, and wear and tear losses are not considered. Improper packing is also an exclusion which is not covered. Improper, inadequate packing, you can say. Inherent vice, you can say that combustion, spontaneous combustion in fire, that is also excluded. Delay, there is a comprehensive meaning of delay. Delay is not covered. For example, a vessel after collision got stranded and delay occurs, deterioration of cargo happens, and that is not covered. So insolvency or fault of carriers, chartered operators of vessels, financial defaults, all these things are excluded. Deliberate damage or destruction by carriers or insured or any other intermediator is also excluded. Further, we go to Institute War Clause. This is a clause where risks are covered due to war, civil war, revolution, rebellion, civil strife, and all these kind of damages occurring due to these things are covered. Capture, seizure, arrest, detainment, all these things are also in coverage. So this Institute War Clause has some exclusions also. Exclusion is any claim based on loss or frustration of the voyage or adventure. When goods are prevented from reaching destination by reason of operation of war, risks or constructive total loss will occur, and that is excluded from the cover. Okay. Then we move on to Institute Strike Clause, cargo. Institute Strike Clause, cargo, it is defined as loss or damage which is due to strikers, logged out workmen, persons taking part in labor disturbances, for example, political activities, rights or civil commissions, and any terrorist or any person acting from a political motive. These risks are covered in Institute Strike Clauses Corpo. और इसमें भी exclusions हैं ICC के अंदर, वो हैं loss, damage, expense arising from absence, shortage, or withholding of labor whatsoever resulting from any lockout or strike. Okay, these are exclusions. Any claim based on loss of or frustration of voyage or adventure. Loss, damage caused by war, civil war, rebellion kind of thing. Against this, these are also in exclusion under strike clause. So here we conclude with these clauses. Further, we move up to declaration clause, institute replacement clause, second-hand machinery is a part of that, cutting clause, and parent set clause. These clauses are part of this marine cover, and you know, due to some sore throat, I am not going to continue with oration. Mr. K.V. Manchanda, please continue with this oration of declaration clause and further clauses.
Okay, thank you. Anyway, first of all, I would say that what declaration clause is. Declaration clause is the condition of this insurance that until completion of this contract, the insured is bound to submit declarations in duplicate hereunder for each and every shipment or inland dispatch. Whether arrived or not, it is agreed that the duplicate copy thereof will be returned duly signed by an authorized representative of the company in evidence of the cover under this policy. Fine. Unintentional failure of the insured to report shipments to the company will not void this policy, and such shipments are held covered subject to policy conditions. Should the insured willfully fail to report shipments under this policy, then the policy has to all its subsequent shipments shall be at company's option become null and void. You see, this is the declaration clause that it is since this policy is covering ICCA clauses and declaration clauses attached, it becomes open kind of policy, and definitely in open kind of policy, every shipment has to be declared before the insurance companies, and that arrangement is depending upon how they have underwritten the policy. It may be on daily basis, it may be on weekly basis, on monthly basis, or say after 3 months, whatever is the duration set. But definitely it is if any breach of this declaration clause is observed, as if it is observed that he has not declared some of the shipments or merchandise which he has hidden. So it is breach of this warranty, and all the claims are at the mercy of insurance companies. Means they become voidable. Means company can pay or cannot pay. This is simply is the meaning of this. So loss before declaration. What happens that if you see, this is a policy which is service to one of the biggest client of India. So there is another condition written in it, that is loss before declaration. The warranty that the liability under the loss or damage in respect of goods in transit before submission of declaration and the acknowledgement there by the company shall be as per basis of valuation less all the unincurred expenses. You see, in that case, what is the basis of indemnification? Here in this policy, suppose whatever is the cost of the shipment and all the other expenses such as freight, loading, unloading, all the duties and taxes and octroi or whatever he has to incur. But whenever such thing has not been declared before insurance company, in this policy, what I am disclosing before you, here they have got a subclass that is saying that if any loss to consignment occurs before the declaration is paid, only the cost of the shipment will be given, but all the expenses which are incurred thereafter, while up to where the loss has occurred, maybe freight, maybe insurance, maybe whatever. So those are not payable. So this is what declaration clause in this is. But then now comes institute replacement clause. It is in event of loss or damage to any part of the part of or parts of an insured machine caused by a peril covered by the policy, the sum recoverable shall not exceed the cost of replacement or repairs of such part or parts plus charges for forwarding and refitting if incurred, but excluding duty unless the duty is included in the amount insured, in which case loss, if any, sustained by payment of additional duty shall also be recoverable. So if any other duties or whatever they have to cover, maybe air freight or express freight or whatever additional whatever they want to, they have to pay for it. And if it is pay, and you have to pay it, but otherwise you have to confine to the replacement cost of the machine only, not the duty or other things. With that has to be you have to pay premium for that. Then here comes, and this is the same case with the replacement clause, second-hand machinery. But it is specifically, I will read out the policy before this the condition before you. In the event of the loss of or damage of to any parts of insured machine caused by peril covered by the policy, the insurance company shall be liable only the cost of repairing or replacing such parts or parts, subject to condition that the settlement of the claim will be made in the same proportion which insured values of the machine bears to the current market value of a similar new machine. And if it is a second-hand machine, then definitely, since it is on particularly this clause is for market value, so you have got to see to it that you don't pay much. You have to pay proportional to it. Means if it is having 50% depreciation and its market value is arrived at say X rupees, you cannot pay beyond X rupees. No doubt, its new replacement cost may be rupee 1. But if it is rupee 50 paisa only after deduction of then you have to pay only 50 paisa for the second hand machinery, because it is like that only. Then now comes the cutting clause. It is cutting clauses somewhat like if some the reel of ACSR moves conductor of the electricity cables is being shipped, and that is damaged. And cutting clause means that portion which is rendered unserviceable, that will be cut, and its money, its compensation shall be forwarded to this. However, I read out once more before you. Currently, that the damaged portion should be cut off and balance utilized. So this is means if say it is 1 kilometer long ACSR moves conductor, and if only 100 meters of it is damaged, that doesn't mean that you have to total it. You have to make it a total loss, or you have to declare it a total loss. Only that portion will be cut, and the rest will be utilized, and insurance company will pay for only that portion. So this is cutting clause attached with the policy. Then here comes pair and set clause. It is hereby declared and agreed that in event of loss of or damage of any article forming part of a pair or set, the company shall not be liable for more than the value of the particular part of parts which may be lost or damaged without reference to any special value which such part or parts may have forming a pair or set, but in any event not exceeding a proportionate part of the sum insured in respect of the pair or set. You see insulators, or even so many machine parts like gearbox housing or this, they come in sets because they are properly machined. Even insulators, they come in set of three, because three limbs are required at any service station, because only three phases are there. So they come in set of three, and if one set is damaged, our liability restricts to only one portion of that set. We don't have to give whole of the set. We have to give only one set. So how now you will say he will represent that his whole set is damaged, since it is a very big client and he requires thousands of things. He can arrange all those things, so it is not a big problem for him to arrange for the damaged portion of the set or pair or whatever it is. So this is how pair and set clause do work, but we have to give him, indemnify him only for the portion of set or pair whatever is damaged. Nothing else we have to go forward beyond it. Fine.
Liability will be confined to the cost of only that particular item only, not the whole set.
Yes, now here comes cancellation clause. This policy is subject to cancellation of by either party. This is when anybody wants to cancel the policy, and on pro rata basis of this pro rata basis, the premium will be refunded. Now here comes the duty insurance clause. So I will read it out first before you. The insurance is on increased value of cargo by reason of payment custom duty at the port or place of destination and is subject to the same clauses and conditions as the insurance on cargo, and to pay the same percentage of duty payable excluding charges. So again, duty is proportional to what you are assessing. So it is not like that if something is imported and you have to import all of the set. No, you have to pay only proportionate duty for that. And in case of total loss of the whole part of the cargo prior to the duty may become payable. Journal average, salvage, whatever charges arising from any casualty coming prior to the duty becomes payable. So it is what we learn from this, that we have to exclude. Again, I will read it out for you. This is the insurance is on increased value of cargo by reason of payment, customs duty at the port or place of destination, and is subject to the same clauses and conditions as the insurance on cargo, and to pay the same percentage of duty payable, excluding charges and expenses as may be paid thereon, but excluding claims in respect of total loss of the whole part of the cargo prior to the duty become payable. Means if any loss is happening where the duty is to be imposed on that particular shipment, we don't have to consider duty at that time. But if loss has occurred after that, then we have to pay the proportional duty in case of total loss and in case of partial losses for us. Now, here, the insurance shall not be valid if effected after the arrival of the vessel at the destination port. So this is one of the foremost conditions. It is not that if he is taking the insurance only when he feels that the vessel has reached at the destination or a vehicle has reached its destination. So it has to be affected immediately on the start of the journey itself. It is not he can take it in between, because at that point of journey nobody knows what is the condition of the cargo and whatever, and sometimes insurers they go for inspection of the cargo before loading it to the vessel or main vessel or feeder vessel or even trucks or lorries. So it is a prime requirement that insurance has to be effected immediately on the start of the journey or the voyage. And secondly, if it is not so, then you know what you have got to do is then your declaration clause, as I have said earlier, if it loss is occurring because of any insured perils before giving the declaration to company, that is they have to pay the loss, but without any expenses or whatever they have incurred. So that is there. And secondly, if there are some shipments which have not been declared before the insurance companies, those become voidable, and it then depends upon insurance company whether they want to pay that loss or not pay that loss, not to pay that loss. Now, there are certain warranties with this. I will read it out. The assured is holder warranted that assured is the holder or signee of the import license or is actual user who has purchased goods from the recognized expert and export house, channelizing agency. So it has to be channelized through a particular system they have to follow. There must not be any procedural lapses. It is not like that they may purchase it from anybody. There are export houses which are approved and authorized by both of the companies, country of origin and country where from the order has originated, where they are intended to sell their project. So these are all having MOUs and everything is there. So it has to be through recognized and what you call thorough route through which they have to, because if a shipment has to be affected through certain agencies, because custom is involved, duties are there are certain other levies and taxes and other things that they have to inform everybody, and every government has its own departments who look into it, and they do take good care of all the shipment, and they should see whether any contraband is there or not. You see, very recently you would have seen that in what you call Beirut, there was a big explosion because silver nitrate was shipped, and that ship was caught by them, and it was confiscated by the government, and thereby it was having tons and tons of that, and it has almost devastated such beautiful city of Beirut. So all the government departments are involved. You cannot escape any of the procedure which is in the protocol and in the law. You have to abide by that. The policy is not assignable. You cannot assign the policy to anybody. You cannot lend it or whatever. No claim shall be paid for the duty until the claim under CIF value insurance policy is payable. It is, it is add-on. First of all, you have to see the admissibility of the claim under cost, insurance, and freight mode of settlement. That is the basic. You have to see whether this loss is payable or not. When it is payable, then you have to pay the duties or any other add-on. So now I come to the procedures and documentation. This is the most important thing, which is of our interest being surveyors, and this is the duty of the assured and their agents, excuse me, in all cases to take such measures as may be reasonable for the purpose of averting or minimizing loss, and to ensure that the rights against carriers, bailees, or other third parties are properly preserved and exercised. In marine, you have to obtain letter of subrogation. What for? It is only that the assured will surrender his rights of recovery before insurance company, and insurance company will pay him and will file a recovery suit against the carriers or baileys, and will recover that from them. Fine. So this is for that. In particular, the assured or their agents, consignees must, under no circumstances, give clean receipt to carrier in respect of packages which are offered to them for delivery in a doubtful condition, except where under written protest. Means whenever anything is being delivered to them, they don't have to give a clean chit to the carriers who are delivering them. If they find that their seals are broken or fiddled with, or their packaging is damaged or cut, because crafty pilferage may occur. Also, you have not to give clean chit, and under protest you have to obtain the delivery. Then take examine delivery from the carrier of any package which are outwardly damaged or appear to have tampered with, and obtain a certificate of damage or shortage from carrier. The carrier should refuse to grant examined delivery suitable remarks to as to condition of the package and the contents thereof. This is what he has got to do to strengthen his claim. If there is something wrong, he finds in his consignment, maybe damages, maybe theft or pilferage or whatever. So then what he has to do, he has to take the weighment, whether it is shortage in weight or not. Then he has to see, mm, take weighment, examine delivery of any package which are an outwardly sound condition, but deficient in weight as compared with the booked weight, and obtain a certificate of shortage from carriers of deficiency in the weight. You see, these things do happen whenever there is something like liquid or whatever, and there are some excesses also. Excess clauses are also imposed in this policy, marine cum Erection policy, and here concerning this condition, there is one access clause, that is normal leakage or evaporation clause. And where from this clause has come into being? In Scotland, world's finest Scotch whiskies are there. They have considered a portion of evaporation which evaporates while aging the whiskey, and in their books of accounts they write angel's share. Angel's shares means it has evaporated. They write in their books of accounts angel's share. So this excess clause of 2% means any loss which is beyond 2%, the same is paid. If it is within 2%, the loss is not maintainable because of this angel's share or normal leakage clause. Okay, so now here I would describe for inland dispatches what are the documentation which are required by a surveyor to or by a client to get his claim back if the consignment is insured. To enable the claims to be dealt with promptly, the assured or their agents are advised to submit all the reasonable supporting documents without delay, including one applicable, number one, original policy or certificate of insurance. Without original policy, they don't pay the claim. Number two, original or copies of supply invoice and packaging weight specification. Number three, the negotiable or other copy of carrier's receipt, and for the original of the carrier's certificate of non-delivery or certificate of damage or shortage or damage to outwardly condition, whatever he has obtained, he has to surrender that also. Then survey report from any surveyor and other documentary evidences like photographs,
FIR.
FIR, and so many other things. Maybe if a vessel has met with an accident, then news has also covered it, all those news clipping and whatever he can have with him, he has got to submit it. Then copies of the notices. You see, the assured is supposed to issue a notice through registered post, acknowledgement due, so that the recovery rights are not forfeited, recovery rights are not suppressed. He has to submit that letter along with the receipt, postal receipt, to the insurance company, along with his all these evidences and his claim bill. And claim bill is comprising of the loss to the goods, all the expenses which are incurred until it reached him, and obviously the amount of survey fees which has been paid by him to the surveyor to inspect the loss. All these are that is called claim bill, which has all these things. And now here I'll tell you there are certain more documentations like bill of lading if it is from ocean oriented voyage. Bill of lading is required. Copy of all the what you say original policy is required, then original bill of lading and other contract of voyage is required, and survey
Um,
report, landing account is required, weight notes, remarks, list, and final at final destination means if any government agencies like customs or whosoever has seen or inspected that loss, all those reports are required to be, and correspondence which has been exchanged with the carriers or other departments, maybe customer, whatever. He has to surrender all those documents. Ah, yes, Mr. Sarabjit, you wanted to say something?
yeah, bill of entry is also required in case of
Uh,
import-export consignments from custom department.
that is what
Ensure
I
com-
said.
yeah.
Now, this was, friend, all about marine. First of all, we have learned that this policy, machinery, marine cum Erection policy, it covers marine also, that to ICCA classes, which is in uh, normal jargon, means common layman's jargon, it is known as all risk policy. Definitely it is not. There are some certain exclusions also, which Mr. Sarabjit has almost detailed. Uh, and there are certain duties also of the client also which he has to do, like he has to take the delivery if he sees that it is in damaged kind of condition. He has to do one thing, that he has to take the delivery under protest, and he should not get a clean chit to the carriers, so that his right of claiming the damages thereafter when he opens the cargo or packing, if he finds it damaged, he cannot claim thereafter. So he doesn't have to give the claim sheet. And secondly, there are certain clauses like pair clause, means we are confined only to the loss to the only one. If one portion of the pair is damaged, only to that portion we are confined to. We don't have to see all the things. We have to be, because we cannot consider whole of the set. Then there is cut class, the portion which is service rendered unserviceable, which cannot be serviced or which cannot be used anywhere, that will be cut, and we are confined to pay only for that portion of the loss only. Fine. So these are the things, and the procedure and documentations we have discussed overtly, and definitely these are the things. I mean, documentations maybe thousands of things like packaging slip, then invoice, then all the certifications, it's all the brochures, and even
Even bill.
any and brochures or a warranty card or whatever it is there, it has got to be taken care of, and whatever you find material to claim, means material to claim. Why I'm using this term, means whatever is substantiating that the loss actually has occurred, and these are, and the loss to a item which has occurred that has actually been procured by the client of ours and actually been transported or shipped through a particular thing. So all these things we have to see, because you see, we have to make sure that if any loss is occurring, law of land must be obeyed. It must not be contraband. It must be channelized through all the government departments as per protocol and as per the procedures. So this is all we have got to see. So this is the first part. Part for first of the policy, that is marine cover. It covers like this. And definitely there are additional clauses also. By paying extra premium, that these can be covered, like terrorism, institute terrorism clause can be inserted into it, and there are certain more kind, means delay, you can cover the delay by paying additional premium. So all these things we have to take good care of. So now I come to part 2, that is erection all risk policy. This section covers section 1, material damage. That is what we have learned in this marine cargo, whatever has cargo has come. There comes a moment when that cargo reaches its destination and is being utilized, say if any construction materials, say cement is there, cement has arrived at the destination point, and you know what is the cost of it now, including all the duties and everything. So thereafter, you head load it to the concern. Say you have to go upward a hill and construct a tower over there, and you have to make the foundation first, and thereafter you have to calculate that cost. And in the meantime, what happens? You are storing it there, and next morning you are going to do all that masonry work or whatever. So in the meantime, rain comes and your material is damaged. Fine. If that material is damaged, now that comes under engineering part, that is erection all risk. Means it is while executing a loss, any loss to damage material, loss to material occurs. So this is what we cover in this part. So now it is a Section 1. The company hereby agrees with the insured, subject to exclusions and conditions contained herein or endorsed hereon, that if any time during the period of insurance started in the said schedule, or during any further period of extension thereof, the property, except packing material of any kind, or any part thereof, described in the said schedule, be lost, damaged, or destroyed by any cause other than those specifically excluded hereunder in a manner necessitating replacement or repairs, the company will pay to make good all such losses or damage up to an amount not exceeding in respect of each of the items specified in the schedule. So, in policy, there is a minimum bottom limit, say of 1 crore or 50 lakhs. So in case any loss which is occurring, that bottom threshold limit is taken good care of. Uh, so this is how, just a moment. Yeah, this is how things are likely to be occur, and this is again going to be a very wider cover, and it covers all kind of losses subject to certain exclusions, and anything which is not appearing in exclusion, that is deemed to be covered. Now I will read out the exclusions to section 1, that is material damage. The company shall not, however, be liable A, the first amount of the loss arising out of each and every occurrence shown as excess in the schedule. Excess clauses to be deducted, and there are different excesses. We will be discussing it in coming section, because those are around 15 to 20 excess clauses, different are there. So we will be discussing, because what sort of loss is there and what sort of excess we have got to deduct. So loss discovered only at the time of taking an inventory. You see, there are certain losses when a material has been delivered and it has reached your what you call stockyard, which you have made near the execution of your work where you have started. It has reached at the base camp, we must say, and thereafter, after a certain portion or certain time, a period of time, a portion of time, whenever you require a certain particular thing, and when you pick it up and you find it is damaged, those losses are excluded in it, because those losses may be attributable to bad workmanship, may be attributable to certain things, certain acts of your employees which have been taken by them while executing some other work. Like if they want to pick a portion of a thing, and they have to put aside one thing which is in their way, and it is hindering them, and they call a JCB, and simply they throw it away. And in doing that kind of thing, if something is damaged, that damage is definitely not coming within the ambit of this policy. Now here I come to C. This is exclusion C, that is normal wear and tear, gradual deterioration due to atmospheric conditions or otherwise rust or scratching, painted or polished surfaces or breakage of glass. All these things, normal wear and tear because of weathering, because of exposing to the weather, and there is oxidation, and there is formation of rust on breakage or chipping of glass items, or maybe scratching because of so many people coming here and there and trying damaging all the things. So all these losses, they don't fall within the purview of the policy. Now I come to D. Loss or damage due to faulty design, defective material, or casting, bad workmanship other than faults in erection. You see here, it is a very pertinent point to know. I will discuss it later also, but here it is also exclusion. Whenever there is some defective material which you receive from the manufacturer, and maybe tower parts, maybe any parts wherein you have been engaged in, that loss definitely is not payable because of only a thing, that loss has been caused by manufacturing defects, and that loss of damaged material which you have received means, if it is it's a reel of 1 kilometer, as I quoted earlier, at 500 meter, when you unwind it and you find that there is a kink, and that portion, it again has to be uh, again portion that has to be cut. But definitely our loss is loss because of any insured peril is up to 100 meters. We are going to consider that 100 meters and rest of the 400 meters, because another kink is found in the reeling itself. That is the manufacturing defect. Definitely 400 meters of ACS or moose conductor we are not going to take care of, being a manufacturing defect. That loss has to be reported to the manufacturers where from the material has been procured. Now, uh, now it is fifth or exclusion E, the cost necessary for rectification or correction of any error during erection unless resulting in physical loss or damage. Physical loss or damage. Okay. You see, all the losses, loss or necessary for rectification or correction of any error during erection unless resulting in physical loss or damage. Like, if that they try to string it on, since the surveyor or insurance company is never mm, with the is with the client. If the people they try to string it to the towers, you know and that thing is known to them, then they and they do it, they string it. And after a certain amount of time when it is live, and that kink, that because of that kink, there will be more obstruction or resistance will be greater, and definitely arcing will occur. Because whenever any electricity is flowing through the conductor, you will find that it is having a magnetic field which is there. And secondly, there is generation of heat because of the frictional flow within the molecules of the ACSR moves conductor. So all these things, and definitely these things, it will definitely give away kind of say it will fall down, and all those losses, if that falls down and definitely strikes with the earth with very big force, and aluminum being brittle, it may definitely, it may break, or it may unwind, or it may render unserviceable. So all those losses, if they happen in that condition at that time, it is very difficult for us surveyors to see whether this thing can or cannot. So at that moment we can consider, and it is written in the policies, and at that time we can consider. Uh, so now another is loss to or loss of damage to files, drawings, accounts, bills, currencies, stamps, deeds, evidence of debts, notes, securities, boxes, crates, packaging materials such as cases, boxes. So again, we are not covering all these things like currency, bills, your packaging material and all. And I guess you remember that when I deliberated on this mm, uh, ICC classes B and C. There also I have requested that packaging or repackaging is not covered until and unless it is specifically insured. And same way here in the material damages in section 1, that is marine. So packaging or repackaging, once a loss has occurred, we have to consider only if they are covered specifically and separately. Now, here comes any damage or penalties on account of the insured's non-fulfillment of the terms of delivery or completion under this contract of erection, or any obligations assumed that including consequential loss of any kind of description of any aesthetic defects or operational deficiencies. You see, if any deficiency because of, say, bankruptcy, or because of low funds, if or because of certain other reasons, because of hostile reason, now it is COVID times. If a contractor is unable to accomplish his assignment in time, and that delay we are not covering. Any penalty which his principal, who has lent him the uh, this contract, we are not covering that. So that way, we have got to take good care of this thing, that if any sort of such loss being claimed, we have to outrightly say no, because it is an exclusion G, and to the section 1 material damages and erection all risk policy. Now, what I have to state that there are provisions which apply to section 1. Now, what are those provisions? Provisions are the memos. Like here you could see on this, it is the memo 3, then memo 4, memo 5, memo 6. These are the different memos. Memo number 1, it is regarding the sum insured, means it has to be adequate. It has to include all the duties and everything, what is the landed cost and all in marine section. And in uh, erection part, it must include the whole of the total value of the contract, because whenever erection is being conducted, and sum insured has to be adequate. So if somebody is given a contract of 200 crore rupees or 200 1,000 rupees or whatever you call it, 2 crore रुपए का ले लीजिए, 200 crore का ले लीजिए. If total value of the contract is that, we cannot say that we have completed only 10% of it and we require a policy for 10% of it. No, it is not like that. Sum insured has to be declared full, and you have to tell the insurance company for how much long period it has been allotted to you for the completion of the work. Say if it is 3 years, then company calculates the premiums, and thereafter there is another memo which states that they can bifurcate this premium in different installments. Say after 3 months, a certain portion of amount has to be given to insurance company as premium towards it. So these are all memos which are, so it is now, it is sum insured is governed by Memo 1. Memo 2 governs premium, as I have said, and the premium adjustment. The sum insured under the policy representing the complete erected value of the plant and machinery project shall be adjustable at completion or erection of the, on the basis of actual values to be declared by the insured in respect of freight and handling charges, the custom dues and cost of erection and everything. So this is what I'm telling you. This is what we have got to see. That was the memo 2, and memo 3 is basis of settlement, how we have to assess a loss, and I will read it out. To basis of settlement of loss, memo 3, in event of the in event of any loss or damage, the basis of any settlement under this policy shall be A. In case of damage which can be repaired, the cost of repairs necessary to restore the damaged items to their condition immediately before the occurrence of damage, less salvage. So you have got to give him the cost and less salvage. Second B part of this, in the case of total loss, the actual value of the items immediately before the occurrence of the loss, means you have to add on all the expenses whatever you have been incurred where the loss has occurred. So you have to calculate and you have to add on all those, and you have to pay it in the case of total loss, and definitely you have to make minus the salvage value and all. This is what memo 3 says, and any alterations are not covered, additions or improvements are not covered. You have to take care of that also, and extension of this cover is there. Extension of any cover of this cover, memo 3 basis of settlement, is that any extra charges incurred towards overnight work on holidays, express freight, these are covered on payment of extra premium. And fortunately, these are covered in memo 3 and are making part of the total of the premium which has been taken from them. So, but this is extension of cover, but whenever there is memo 3 is attached, most of the times they do take good care of this aspect also. So now I come to memo 4, that is CPM policy, construction plant and machinery. I guess we have had very recently a seminar, a webinar on this, and this is a part of this policy also, which reads out: loss or damage to construction plant and machinery excludes loss or damage directly caused by its own explosion or its own mechanical or electrical breakdown or dearrangement. So, brothers, here CPM policy is covered. All the equipments are covered under this head, White Memo number 4, but it does not cover anything or any loss caused by its own explosion or mechanical or electrical breakdown or dearrangement. And you know what dearrangement means. So these are losses which are not payable, but rest everything is covered in this policy, and this policy covers only the construction machinery kind of thing. So now memo number 5 is surrounding property. That is, loss or damage to the property located on or adjacent to the site and belonging to the or held in care, custody or control of the principals or contractors shall only be covered if occurring directly due to erection, construction or testing. So surrounding property, if any loss is occurring, if it is occurring only because of erection or execution of the uh, or construction of the things, only then it is covered. And testing of the items ensured in section 1 and happening during the period of the cover. So as I have told that these are long-term policies, maybe 3 years, 4 years, 2 years, 18 months or beyond, whatever. So anything, including testing time of say 6 months or 18 months, whatever. So these are also covered in that. If all these things, anything is happening while executing or erecting anything and loss to the surrounding property, like if it is own, he has to declare. If it is, say, it falls on nearby, what you call, fields or damages it, and they have got to pay. And the cover does not apply to construction, erection machinery, plants, and equipments belonging to him, the insured. So it is not there. Then Memo 6 is Act of God claims. Act of God claims shall mean that the claims arising out of earthquake, landslide, rock slide, subsidence, flood, inundation, storm, tempest, hurricane, typhoon, cyclone, lightning, or other atmospheric disturbances, they all are insured wide Memo 6 of the policy. In wide section 1 of the policy of covering erection all risk. Now, here it is section 2 is third party liability. So it is legal liability of the insured, which is occurring to rest of the people, uh, means any third party is damaged, any third party vehicle or property or any life is at risk because of the execution of this erection of the plant or of the, what you say, this is not covered. Oh, sorry, these are discussed in this policy are covered, and only his own employees, if they come and across any accident, they cannot be treated as third party. For that matter, they have to take employees compensation package policy cover. They have to take. Then there are exclusion. This is what the main exclusion I have said, that in third party, all his own movable or immovable properties, if they are damaged, they cannot be treated as third party. And conditions applying to third party, that is section 2. First of all, I must say that access stated in the schedule, this is again exclusion, that this cannot be claimed in this section also. Excess, then expenditure incurred on doing or redoing or making good the repairing the replacing any covered or coverable under section 1 of this policy. This is what I'm trying to say, that all the things which have been covered in section 1 cannot be treated here in third party liability section. So this is what now conditions applying to section Q, that is third party liability. No admission, offer, promise, payment, or indemnity shall be made or given by the insured by or on behalf of the insured without the written consent of the company. So he has got to involve the company for any sort this sort of compensation, because you know what, These sort of compensations, if they have to give, insurance company has to be informed, because if any such thing, any loss to third party property or that is there, that they have to move court, and even they want to settle this beyond not by going to court, and mediation services or conciliatory services can be taken care of, and that is the duty of the insurers to arrange for it, for the out of court settlement, like your uh, uh, this lok adalats these days. That is also conciliatory services, and there, you know, consented kind of loss, consented kind of loss disbursement is arrived at, compensation is arrived at by all the three parties, insurers, aggrieved, and the insured, out of the court. But definitely, whatever is decided, that has to be registered in the court, so that he is not coming once more and lodging another claim. If there is no written agreement in between the parties, he can again claim it. So to avoid that situation, that has to be. Now, the company may, so far as any accident is concerned, pay to insure the limit of indemnity for any one accident, any one period. So this is what conditions, since we have discussed the bottom limit of 1 crore or 20 crore or 50 lakh, whatever is the bottom limit, company may come and settle that thing up to that extent, and that depends on company if they want to go for mutual kind of agreement and mutual kind of consented about kind of situation, or they have to. So this is how we have got to see. Now, there are journal exclusions to this part also, that is war, invasion, this, that, and enemies, hostilities, and these are all excluded here. Then nuclear reaction and aircraft or aerial devices, if they're or anything dropped there from, if they are causing any loss, again, this is not payable. Then willful misconduct is not payable. Negligence of insured or his responsible instead is not payable. Then cessation of work, whether total or partial, because of any reason, maybe strike, maybe rights, that is again not payable. So period of cover applying to part 2. Period of cover is definitely, that is how company and insured has agreed upon, because of it is generally sometimes after completion of the works, and after completion of the works up to 1 year, that is extended, and sometimes it is after the expiry of the testing period and extending up to 1 calendar year. That is how the things are. That has to be defined by the company, and the policy which I had, it was defined for 1.5 years after the testing period is over. So this is how things are going on. Now, journal conditions applying to part. Journal conditions are, you know it well, that due observance and fulfillment of terms and conditions of the policy has to be taken care of. Schedule and sections has be deemed to be incorporated in form, and policy expression, this policy where uses including the schedule. So formation of schedule and adhering to it, whatever is disclosed shall be treated as. So we have to see this. Now, condition 3 is insured shall at his own expenses, like take all the reasonable precautions and comply with all the reasonable recommendations of the company to prevent loss, damage, or liability, and comply with statutory requirements and manufacturers' recommendations. Then fourth A is representative of the company shall any reasonable time may have right to inspect and examine the risk and all his papers and everything. This is what once Mr. Halsulkar also told, because he was also telling about the pre-inspection of such mega projects, and this is what I'm connecting this portion with his uh, what you call webinar, that company has got right to inspect the risk, revise the risk, deny the risk, cancel the risk. So this is how things do happen, and this inspection is one of the conditions which is forming part of the policy. Fine. Now, the insured shall immediately notify the company by telegram. Now it is nowhere, it is old policy, I guess, so, and it is same through email or through SMS or through phone, or of any material change in the risk and cause at his own expense such additional precautions. Just excuse me. So, insured shall immediately notify the company by telegram and in writing or by any means. Right now, it is email, because there is no telegram. Telegram service has been withdrawn by Department of Posts and all. And in writing of any material change in the risk, if there is any change in the risk, say they are given one more contact from this limit, and it has enhanced the sum insured, and that is another 100 crore rupees project is handed over to them on donkey basis, and they have to that has to be included, and it has to be brought into the notice of the insurance company immediately without wasting any time. No material alteration shall be made or admitted by the insured whereby risk is is increased unless continuance of the insurance is confirmed in writing by the company. So anything which is trying to do damages or enhance the risk, that has to be brought into the notice of the insurance company immediately, and that has to be endorsed by the company, or a written consent has to be taken from the company. So then sixth is insured at the expense of the company do and concur in doing and permit to be done all such acts and things as may be necessary or required by the company in interest of any rights or remedies of the obtaining self relief or indemnity from parties other than those insured under this policy, for which company shall be or would become entitled or subrogation upon their paying for making good loss. So he has to protect the interest, his own interest as well as the interest of the company also. Like if some third party vehicle, it damages something belonging to the insured that is covered, and he wants the, so all the subrogation rights, if he is claiming from that truck or lorry owner, and he has to subrogate or he has to give it back to the insurance company, because insurance company is paying to him, he cannot make a double benefit out of misfortune. So that is, so then here comes seventh one condition. If at time any claim arises under this policy, there be any other insurance covering the same loss, damage or liability of the company shall not be liable to pay or contribute more than their rateable proportion. So if there is any co-insurance kind of thing is there, so rateable proportion has to be borne by both of the companies. But definitely one thing is the excess class will be separate in both of the policies. There is no proportion of excess class at all. So if there are two policies, two excesses are to be exercised, two excesses are to be deducted. So this is what I mean to convey. We have got to see all these things which are very much important from the surveyor's point of view. Now, condition 8, if a claim in any respect is found fraudulent, that is not payable. This is the condition which is prevalent in almost all the insurance policies. So we all know fraudulent or misrepresentation or suppression of material fact kind of thing must not be there, and otherwise the loss is not going to be paid. So another condition is this insurance may be terminated at the request of the insured, or insurance company may on its own can uh, terminate the insurance. So this is definitely doesn't belong to us. We won't. Now, section 10, condition 10th is arbitration. Any dispute, if arises between the insurance company and between the party because of any reason, it will be given to an arbitration. The matter will go to arbitration, and whoever is the arbitrator, whatever he will decide, the things will be taken, uh, accepted by both of the parties to this suit. So this is what you call third party liability is. Then endorsement A, it is civil engineering works. It belongs to civil engineering works only. All the permanent civil engineering works such as buildings, foundations, earthwork, including materials for the construction thereof. So, and B, all temporary works such as building, shed, etc. Then exclusion is defective craftsmanship, material or design of wear and tear, mechanical breakdown, dearrangement, deterioration because of lack of use, or obsolescence, loss to property by disappearance or shortage, loss or destruction or damage or of accounts, currency, stamps, money, evidence. So this is so. First of all, we must understand what is the basis of this endorsement. This endorsement covers two types of civil engineering works. One is temporary structures such as building sheds, which are used by its labor to live in, by its officers, by its engineers, by its drivers who are doing all of the work. These are the temporary structures, which makeshift kind of. These can be uprooted and taken to another station. So these are the temporary structures. And another is permanent structures, as if I will give you an example. Whenever uh, a tower is to be erected, first of all, they have to procure the land, and thereafter they have to dig it down, and they have to uh, make the foundation, and in that foundation at certain angle they have to fix in the stubs. Stubs are, there are four stubs or legs. These are the four basic big uh, pieces of metal which bear the weight of whole of the tower. So masonry work, civil work is necessitated to hold those stubs in place so that erection of tower over them is carried out. So that is permanent, and that belongs to the contract. And the low one is facilitation to complete the contract, because it is drivers and engineers and labor who has to do, and for their after execution of their work during daytime, they come back and they rest in the makeshift buildings. Those are temporary structures. So this is endorsement A, and both of the things are covered, except because of any loss due to defective craftsmanship, material or design, wear and tear, mechanical breakdown, dearrangement, deterioration because of lack of use, of obsolescence, sometimes tongue twisting kind of thing, loss to property by disappearance or shortage. Loss of property by disappearance means like you are having inflow of so many people. If somebody requires something, he picks it up and takes it along with him. And if those sort of things are coming, like if any bearing is there or any shaft is there, if that is taken away by any of the person who is visiting there, so those losses are definitely not payable in this endorsement also. Now, add-on is TP liability, third-party liability, including cross liability. Third-party liability, including cross liability. In this liability is any one accident or in aggregate during policy period. Limit of liability is maybe 10 crores. It is the maximum liability. It is agreed and understood that otherwise the subject to the terms and conditions and exclusions, provisions and conditions contained in the policy are endorsed thereof, subject to the insured having paid the agreed extra premium. You have got to pay extra premium for that. The third-party liability cover of the policy shall apply to the insured parties named in the schedule as if a separate policy had been issued to each party, provided company shall not indemnify the insured under the endorsement in respect of loss or damage to items insured or insurance under section 1 of the policy, even if not recoverable due to excess of any limit. So anything fatal or non-fatal injury or illness of employees or workmen who are could have been insured under workmen's compensation or employees liability insurance. The insurer's total liability in respect of insured party shall not, however, exceed in aggregate for any one accident or series of accidents arising out of one event limit of the indemnity stated in the schedule. Jurisdiction is within the India. So this is now what is the cross liability? Each of the parties comprising of the insured shall, for the purpose of this section, be considered as a separate or distinct party, as the word the insured shall consider as applying to each party in the same manner as if separate policy had been issued to each of the said parties, and the insurers hereby agree to waive all the rights of subrogation. Now, cross liability is whenever, say, he's owning his own fleet of lorries, and all those lorries are engaged in bringing the materials which he has procured from different manufacturers, and those are covered under the section 1 of the policy, and that section 1 of policy, that is marine. And if any loss occurs, he is entitled to pay. But definitely when such thing occurs, then company has the right to recover that amount from him as carrier also. So after paying additional amount under this third party liability and cross liability section, this is the add-on kind of add-on by paying extra premium, that subrogation of rights of recovery is waived off. So I guess you people are enjoying this webinar. I don't know whether you are enjoying or not, but definitely I'm enjoying you all by deliberating all what I have learned in all these long years, now I would say another add-on I'm going to discuss is this is removal of debris. Everybody is well conversant with it, and definitely I must say that any one accident or in aggregate during that period, limit of the liability as agreed, whatever company and insured both agree mutually shall be made the limit, and this add-on extend to include cost and expenses necessarily incurred by the insured for removing debris, dismantling, demolishing, shoring up or propping, and affecting access to and or recovery and cleaning drains and sewers, including debris from adjoining premises, roadways or waterways. I mean, any sort of loss, say, whenever any rock slide is there, it sometimes a water body is closed or is choked because of that, because of any operation of any peril which has operated and loss becomes payable, insurance companies will pay for removal of the debris, including dismantling or demolishing, shoring up of propping, and affecting the access to. Means if that access is barricaded by a big mound of hill which has fallen apart, uh, certainly another access has to be made, and if he has to engage a JCB to make a kacha kind of road, even that is also payable by the insurance company. Now, when we come to add on honors surrounding property, as we have already discussed that in third party section, owners own surrounding property is not covered, but in this add-on, by paying extra premium, 10% of the policy sum insured in aggregate can be covered as this, like say if his own car is there, or even his other things are very much so many things are there, like his hydras and other construction material or machinery is there, and because of some reason or some operation of some kind of peril, he has got that damage, and insurance company will pay. If this add-on has been purchased by him, insurance company will definitely pay for that. Coverage shall not apply to construction material or erection machinery, plant and equipment. Loss is covered only if attributed directly to erection, construction, testing of the item insured under policy during the currency of the period. So here it is the thing. So it is not going to cover construction machinery or erection machinery or plant and equipment. What it is going to cover then? It is maybe material, maybe other things, car, whatever. There are thousands of things which are like the spare machines, the spare of vehicles which he has kept with them, the winches or whatever. So all these things which are required by him or which are purchased, but because he has not taken, I must say, uh, anything like he must have a crusher that is lying there, and if it is because of erecting that thing, a tower is tilted and is fallen on that crusher, any damages to the crusher are there, those are covered in this policy. But definitely this is what you have got to, or even your own stores, like whatever you have procured. Uh, then add on another is professional fees. Professional fees, including legal fees payable to any expert, consultant, or advisor incurred following loss or damage to project property, are payable if this add-on has been purchased by the insured while he has purchased the policy. Loss minimization expenses, again, it is another add-on. All expenses incurred by insured against to reduce threat of any probable or real loss, to reduce the actual loss or damage from any insured peril, to expedite the repairers, replacements damaged by such perils, to prevent further deterioration or delay or damage, may increase the restoration cost of startup period. So all the expenses, once a loss has occurred, to minimize, to reduce the threat of probable or real loss, means if anything has already happened, or even sometimes he wants to, like he has stored cement in open, but he foresees that it is likely that snow or sleet or rainfall is likely to be there. So he constructs a temporary structure and purchases some platform and raises the level of it, and he tries to save it, and even that kind of thing. If that loss minimization expenses, if they are also damaged, if any loss has occurred, and if insured is trying to do all these sort of minimization expenses to uh, to save from aggravation of the loss, we can pay all those losses in this. We have read it out. No extended maintenance cover. All expenses incurred by insured against cars by contractor in course of operation carried out for purpose of complying with obligations under maintenance provisions of the contract occurring during maintenance period, provided such damage loss was caused on the site during erection period. Now you see, this is one of the very beautiful thing. Means any loss which is observed during maintenance period, so this extended maintenance cover is covering that only, but provided that loss must be attributed to have been caused during the erection period when it was being constructed or when it was being fabricated. If it is a tower, first construction is there because its legs or its stubs are to be put it into a cement RCC structure so that they can withstand the weight. Then erection of the or fabrication part comes where they fabricate or assemble the tower parts, and thereafter they with the use of helicopters, or sometimes they keep on erecting by joining each member separately. So if that is occurring, and thereafter it comes the stringing of the and then making it live, and during that testing period, as if I have said that because of some kink in it at 500 meter, as I have given one of the example very recently, if because of any insured peril, our loss, or say because of something, loss was actually has happened because of insured perils up to the extent of 100 meters, but there was a manufacturing defect of 500 meters, but instead of cutting that, they have strung that to the what you call tower. They have strung that wire to the tower. What will happen? Because of inflow of electricity, magnetic charge will be there, and because of uneven kind of surface or kink, there will be more resistance, and thereby heat may be generated, and it may become red hot. That is called hot spot. If that hot spot is made, the whole of the line will melt at that point of kink, and it will shear off and it will fall down. And if that thing happens, that extended maintenance cover takes care of this loss, because that loss has actually happened during what you call, that has happened during erection, but has come into notice only when the line was made live. Fine, live means when it current was and it was being tested for. Then waiver of contribution clause. To waive the rights of subrogation against insured and the respective directors, officers, agents, sectors of the insured, except when such rights may be acquired in consequence of any fraud, fraudulent misrepresentation, non-disclosure, or breach of condition or warranties by insured. The insured having already paid the claim hereunder, the clause is not extended to third party. So waiver of contribution, once he has been paid and it is observed that fraudulent or any sort of fraud it is there, but claim has been paid, and that loss cannot be recovered from these people who are owners or directors or officers of the company. That waiver of contribution clause is an add-on which covers this sort of thing, but definitely it does not covers. It covers only the insured and his agents or officer or directors or owners or proprietors or sorry, partners or whatever. But definitely they don't cover all those things. But if it is somebody else other than these people, then this waiver of contribution clause does not arise, and therefore it is not extended to cover the third parties. Then added is automatic reinstatement clause, means whatever the loss has been paid to the client, it is deemed to have been uh, automatically reinstated up to a certain percentage, means maybe 5% or 10% of the claim. Say if a policy is worth 10 crore rupees and the loss, say it is covering 5% of the automatic reinstatement. So 5% of that, whatever that amount is, it is deemed to have been automatically reinstated. And if the loss is beyond that, for that matter, we have to take care of the average clause. Otherwise, if it is within the 5% limit or 10%, whatever has been decided by the company, so if it is within that limit, then there is no question of any average clause. But definitely, when it is there, it is beyond that limit, say 5%, it is 6%, then average clause has to be taken, and there is no threshold limit for it. And definitely, if it is 6%, then you have to deduct on that 6%. You have to deduct average clause at the rate of 6% from the claim amount, next claim amount. So you have to take track of all the claims. You have to obtain all the data from the insurance companies to take care of this aspect, and it is very vital aspect. And most of the times we forget to take care of this aspect. Now here comes the escalation clause. Escalation up to 50% is covered, and on happening of a loss, the reinstatement cost or actual cost plus escalation or appreciation, actual subject to 50% is to be considered in the event of a loss. Here it is a, right now you see in COVID times itself, previously it was around 40,000 rupees per 10 grams of gold. Right now it is 57,000 rupees per gram or whatever. So this is escalation, and if any loss occurs, and if it has been purchased for rupee 1 when the contract was given, and after 2 years while springing, a loss occurs, and because of inflation and all, the bullion prices they increase, means tower cost is increased, and your aluminum cost is increased. So if this escalation clause is affected in the policy, the actual, if it is below 50%, the escalation is below 50%, then actual will be considered. If it is not, if it is beyond that, then our maximum limit of taking care of escalation clause is 50%, and definitely we have to pay him the basic price, what uh, or maybe basic price when it was purchased plus 50% as escalation, which has been agreed upon and given to the insured by the insurance company as add-on after being paid a certain amount of premium against it. And again, another add-on is 50-50 clause. When it is not possible to establish whether the loss has been caused to the consignment during transit or during construction or erection, then the loss will be shared by marine insurers and EAR insurers on 50-50 basis. But this EAR policy is different. But here we are discussing marine cum erection policy. It covers both of the things, and add-on clause doesn't arise. But definitely there are certain materials which an insured may have called for in their ordinary marine policy. There, if that kind of thing comes, and all the things they have to any loss is there, they have to do. Then 50-50 clause, if that insurer is different, then contribution clause will, or 50-50 basis, it will be shared. Then it is add-on 72 hours clause. This is for reoccurring events such as floods or storms or earthquake or tsunami within 72 hours. It will be treated as single event. And if this clause is nowhere, then every event, even if it is occurring after half an hour or maybe after 10 minutes, it has to be treated as a new event. So this add-on clause says that up to 72 hours, if series of event keeps on occurring, it will be treated as single event. And for why it will be treated as single event? Because it will affect the case, because you have to go for act of God excess clause, which is sometimes 5% of the sum insured in such mega project. It is a very big amount. Now, add on another is designation of property clause. Most of us we know it what it actually means. Insurer will accept the designation under which the property has been entered in the insured book. So this is in fact a clause which is not costing insured anything. It is simply a clause which has to be inserted only on demand. So this is also very important clause. It is like if some people say fender, some say mudguard. So if somebody is writing mudguard in his books of account, so that will be taken care of by the insured in the same way. Just hold on, please. So this is again now testing and commissioning clause. This is very important clause in marine cum Erection policies and EAR policies. The only for purpose only hard testing shall be considered as testing, and cold testing shall be treated as part of erection. So cold testing is by means if it is a strung kind of you are stringing a thing, and you have to see whether all the current is flowing through it or not, and you are sending through some molecules of electricity, maybe through tester or whatever, that shall be treated as part of erection. But whenever a live testing or live load testing is given, that live load testing is going to be considered as real testing, because all the flaws like expansion or like any kink and developing hotspot and then felling or any jumper failure or any joint failure, all these things are only are going to surface only when hot testing or live load testing is going to be taken care of or going to be done. So this add-on covers that class and anything which happens, because whenever testing and commissioning is affected, the maximum load for which that machine or project is designed for is trying to be put it on to that condition, whether it withstands or not. So this is very important part, and this testing and commissioning clause is okay, but testing period, it goes sometimes beyond 1.5 years, as per like in transmission lines. In transmission lines, from 6 months to 18 months is the testing period, wherein they keep on testing, and if any flaw is detected, only then it is the duty as per the contract of the contract with that client that has to be rectified him free of cost. And sometimes those flaws may be whatever But here it is very prudence of surveyor which will matter to see whether this loss has been caused by any of the insured perils or is attributable to any of the defects, because in every project defects in design do occur, and defects in design by insured crew are allowed, and for that purpose we have got DE4 endorsement. I'll discuss it later. Now, additional custom duty, again, additional certain percent of additional custom duty, which you may have to pay over and above. We have discussed it. I guess it is a replica of the previous screen, but definitely we have to pay the pro rata, means a percentage of additional custom duty. If we have to pay only if it has been observed that custom duty for procurement during currency of policy has been there, and to arrive at the sum insured of the effective item, we have to include it there also for the adequacy purpose also. Then add-on is earthquake class. The losses caused by earthquake, tremors, shocks, or fire or flood, tsunami, or rock slides are covered in this add-on, and everybody is well versed about it. Then reinstatement value clause. Loss has to be assessed on current reinstate value as new as on the date of loss. We don't have to take care of the things what for he has purchased any part 2 years back or whenever he started that project. So you have to take the current reinstatement value of the thing which is insured and is damaged, and previously it was costing rupee 2 and right now it is costing rupees 2.5. We have to consider 2.5 and you have to deduct its salvage value accordingly. Now terrorism damage cover, it is again an endorsement add-on cover, and you have to seek an endorsement if you have not covered, and then it is applicable to material damage only, and here it is material damage only, but I will say that one tower was damaged with the help of RDX or whatever, that was damaged beyond repairs, and that was totaled, and this was a very big hurdle because that tower costed around 2.8 crore rupees, and around 8 lengths of ACS or moose conductor were damaged, and running to around 7 or 8 kilometers was the total length of these damage because of bending, and they stretched and they were rendered unserviceable. So that loss was assessed. Then what we had to do when this was a terrorism act, and we had to come down to this, and we had to give him only the cost of materials, cost of all those things, what you call, cost of materials was only considered. No consideration to labor component or that was taken care of because of this adjustment. Only materials like wires, insulators, separators, jumpers, then earthing wire. These all were taken into consideration, but no stringing labor was given. Only all the cost of material up to that site only was considered. Losses excluded. So what are the losses which are excluded by this portion of this complete policy, I mean, erection policy? Loss by seizure or legal or illegal occupation. loss by seizure by any government authority. It is exclusion in every policy. Voluntary abandonment or vocation, confiscation, commandeering, or nationalization, detention, requisition, embargo, or quarantine, etc. by government order. This is again, it is prevalent in all of the policies pertaining to marine section. So this is an act of contraband or illegal transportation of illegal trade. So illegal trade, I said that law of land has to be taken care of, and we have to defend it. We don't have to breach it, and if any breach of law is reported or is observed, the loss is not payable. Seepage or discharge of contaminants or chemicals or biological or asbestos emissions. Again, this is a condition wherein seepage or discharge of contaminants like chemical or biological or asbestos or mica emissions. These are, if anything is contaminated by this, again, loss is not payable. Penalty, fine, or interest, etc., which is imposed to the party, is not payable or is not recoverable under this policy. Sachin ji?
Manchanda ji, yes, we need to be close because we will conduct again second part because there are so many questions also coming. But it's a 2 hours. We will not able to do it further. So we'll take it as a second part.
That's great, sir. That's great.
We'll note down all the questions and that also we'll address in the part 2.
Exactly, sir. Exactly. Very right.
Yeah.
Thank
you all the members. Thank you, Sarabjit ji. Thank you, Manchanda ji. Members, we also started giving the certificate. Check your mailbox. You must be received the certificate for yesterday's webinar. Also give your suggestion on training@isla.net. By day we are improving ourselves, so your suggestion is most important for us. So thank you again, once again, Manchanda ji. Thank you, Sarabjit ji. Thank you all the panelists and thank you all the members.
We have given overview whatever we can, and we will take it on.
All the members to attend tomorrow's webinar at 11 a.m. It is very important by Mr. P.C. Shukla ji.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, KB Manchanda sir. Thank you, Sarabjit ji. Thank you, Sachin sir.
Right, sir.
Thanks to